I'm Leigh-Ann Larson. I'm the founder of Rising Up, an intensive outpatient program, and also Elevate Counseling Services, which is an outpatient therapy organization southeastern Massachusetts. We treat everyone in Massachusetts, so online and in person. And so today I chose this question, like, why am I still affected by things that happened years ago? Because so many people quietly wonder that as they continue to react to things that come up. And we're going to replace some of that self-judgment, which people can have, beating themselves up about those things, with some understanding. So just a little caveat, this is an educational workshop. It's not group therapy. It's not a substitute for individualized health care. We will not ask anybody to share any traumatic experiences today. And we do not want to put any clinical private information in the chat. You are always welcome to keep your camera off or step away or decline any exercises we might be doing today during the experiential portion. Kolby will not ask you to recall anything traumatic. This practice is about noticing what is happening in the present moment. So you may keep your eyes open or move your body or stop at any time. Okay. So without sharing any personal details, let's just do a show of hands, okay? Has any of these experiences been familiar to you? Feeling on edge or unable to relax, overthinking, people pleasing, shutting down, becoming emotionally overwhelmed, or noticing physical tension without realizing why. Did you see how quickly my hand went up? It went up fast. Dawn, you're so technologically savvy. She just used the little hand on the thing. I love that so much. So yeah, our hands went up, didn't they? Notice how many different responses are represented here. Trauma and chronic stress do not look the same for everybody. So, what is trauma and what isn't trauma? When people hear the word trauma, oh, let me let someone in. Oh, they just disappeared. When people hear the word trauma, they often imagine a war, violence, or a terrible accident, or a catastrophic event. Those experiences can certainly be traumatic, but trauma is not limited to one category or one specific event. SAMHSA, which is a big mental health organization, describes trauma in terms of three elements: the event or of circumstances, the person's experience with it, their personal emotional experience with it, and the lasting effects. This means two people can live through similar events and have very different responses. The response may be affected by age, previous experiences, available support, the duration of the experience, and whether the person had any control or any way to escape. How many people have heard someone say, they grew up in the same house with somebody, but their experience was so different? Like, the way they retell the story is like so completely different because we all view things from our own lens, from our own resiliency, from our own personal experiences, right? So here are some experiences that can create a lasting response, okay? And some of these things can be triggering. So I would say, if you want, you can always just kind of tap, while I'm saying these things, if you want to make sure that you stay regulated. I know I'm going to. Abuse, violence, accidents, or disasters can create a lasting trauma response. Difficult childhood environments And believe it or not, neglect over the entirety of a childhood can be just as devastating as any of the more acute type of traumas or abuses you would think about. So, emotional neglect or inconsistent caregiving, bullying, discrimination or humiliation, loss, grief, or relationship betrayal, medical procedures, illnesses, or chronic pain. I have to say that health anxiety, you can't escape health anxiety because it's your body. Where are you going? You're not going anywhere, right? Health anxiety can be very, very traumatic. Medical procedures is a big one, right? Caregiving and prolonged uncertainty. Has anyone taken care of someone with chronic illness? Yes, right? And just the when of that. Repeated conflict or chronic stress and periods of feeling trapped, powerless, or unsupported. So, all of those things, we've talked to people who were caregivers or who loved people struggling with addiction. That's a big one, waiting for that shoe to drop, always living, not knowing what's going to happen next, when the police are going to come, when's the next hospital, right? All that stuff. So now, not every painful experiences causes PTSD. In fact, most people exposed to trauma, believe it or not, will not experience PTSD. But experiences can still influence the way we relate to others or the world, protect ourselves, manage our emotions, or respond to stress. I think one of the biggest things that we can do in healing some of our experiences that like maybe don't give us PTSD, but certainly are traumatic is to learn how to be able to respond to life instead of to react to life. Because when we can regulate that nervous system and we can learn to take a break and we can take a pause, that really changes the dynamics in all of our relationships, our family relationships, our relationships with ourselves, our relationships at work, right? So that's a big one. Trauma is not evidence that you are weak. It is evidence that something exceeded your ability to cope at the time with the resources and the support that were currently available to you. It's literally like an overwhelm of brain chemistry, and just the way that it hit your brain created this experience. Okay. And that's the big thing. It's not about personality or whether you're weak or strong. Okay. And Kolby is going to continue this conversation about why the past can feel like the present. Thanks,
Thank
Kolby.
you, Leigh-Ann. So, your brain and your body are constantly trying to answer a very important question. Am I safe right now? So, when something threatening happens, the stress response system mobilizes automatically. So, your heart rate might increase, your breathing may change, your muscles may tense or tighten, and your attention may narrow toward danger or perceived danger. This happens before you really have the time to kind of reason through the situation. So think of your stress response system like a smoke alarm. So a smoke alarm is for safety. It's meant to protect us. But after overwhelming or repeated overwhelming experiences, the smoke alarm can become highly sensitive. And so it might not only react to a fire, but also say burnt toast. So the reaction is real, even when whatever you're going through is not necessarily dangerous or threatening.
Can I tell you something about the smoke alarm analogy?
Mm-hmm.
My house, we call the smoke alarm the dinner bell. Just a little joke. But, yeah, 'cause I should just replace it. It's highly sensitive. I need a new one.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. So, some memories are stories that we can consciously recall. And then other learning is activated through emotion, sensation, association, and expectation. So, that can mean a tone of voice, a facial expression, a smell, location, conflict, feeling ignored, the sense of losing control. All of this can resemble some aspect of an earlier experience we may have had. And so the nervous system may initiate that protective response. We start to get a little activated before your thinking mind can really connect what's going on. So that's why you can intellectually know I'm not in danger, I'm safe right now, and still feel anxious, frozen, defensive, or overwhelmed. So the body is not disagreeing with you. It's not betraying you, but it is responding to something that it's learned to associate with danger. And so trigger, we hear the word trigger. Some people I use activate a lot of the time, like, I'm activated, right? But a trigger is a cue or a reminder that activates an emotional or physical response connected to an earlier experience. So some triggers, and they're going to vary person to person because this is individual to the person who's experienced the stuff, right? So some triggers can be a person, a place, an anniversary, a sound or a smell, conflict or criticism, feeling rejected, excluded, or misunderstood, someone becoming emotionally unavailable, uncertainty or having a lack of control, physical sensations such as pain or a racing heart, news stories or images, a change in routine or relationship. And the National Center for PTSD notes that reminders can produce emotional and physical reactions such as fear, anger, tension, or a racing heart. So there are 4 protective patterns that we talk a lot about, and you may be familiar with some of them. We have fight, flight, freeze, and then appease or fawn. So in the fight state, this is where we may see some anger, irritability, arguing, controlling, defensiveness. In flight, we experience anxiety, overworking, constant motion, excessive planning, or difficulty resting. Freeze, shutting down, feeling stuck, going blank, numbness, having difficulty making decisions. And then appease or fawn, people pleasing, avoiding disagreement, abandoning one's needs to kind of keep the peace, managing everyone else's emotions. So these reactions that you may experience, they're not character defects. They don't mean that something is wrong with us. They're just protective strategies. They have made sense in an earlier time in your life in a different environment. And even now, they might create some difficulties for you. So it's important to know that it's simply protective, and your brain and your body is doing what it's supposed to do. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Why am I still experiencing this? We can start to ask, okay, what is my nervous system trying to protect me from? What's going on? What do I need?
That's a great question, isn't it? Mhm. What's happening right now that's making me feel this way? Yeah, wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about anxiety, perfectionism, and people pleasing because trauma does not always present as a vivid memory or a flashback. Sometimes it looks highly functional. So, anxiety, if you're feeling unpredictably uh, unsafe, the mind can continually scan for what could be going wrong. Let me say that again. If you are a person who has had, think about like growing up in a battlefield, like early childhood stuff. If you're like always on this defensiveness plays this like I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, I think is a good way to say it, right? Then you're scanning the environment all the time for what could go wrong. I have a lot of people who are like, I'm pessimist. They'll say I'm a pessimist, right? As opposed to I'm an optimist. Well, I say let's try to just be a realist, right? Let's find that middle path. We don't have to like wear rose-colored glasses and think that everything's all great. But if you're scanning the environment all the time for what is going wrong, I call that what if syndrome, by the way. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? Then that anxiety that you're actually having can stem from, you know, a history of some kind of experience that you now experience as trauma. And then we have perfectionism. If mistakes were met with criticism, shame, rejection, or conflict, perfectionism may develop as a form of protection. Because you think if I do everything correctly, perhaps I will feel safe and accepted. And that's a big one, for a woman. I was, as a young person, I didn't even know that I was shooting for perfectionism. I really didn't even know that I was, but I really was. And when I realized that I was never going to be perfect, I probably was like 30s before I realized my goal was never going to happen. I literally have the biggest emotional release of my life to this day. I was like, oh my gosh, I was trying to do something that was never ever possible. We're not supposed to be perfect. But if we and I don't even think anyone would consciously say I'm supposed to be perfect, like on an ego thing, but you just keep pushing yourself and you keep telling yourself I can do better or I should do more, right? You guys all know what I'm talking about. I see a lot of head nodding because we're all women on this call, right? And I think a lot of us get that kind of thing. So the perfectionism is a big one that comes from criticism, shame, rejection, conflict. You're just trying to avoid all that. People pleasing. If connection once depended on keeping someone else calm or happy, paying close attention to other people's feelings may have become a survival skill. We see this all the time with people who come in for the work who know they have a trauma history, right? They're like, oh yeah, I read the room. I want to know what's happening before I like jump in, right? And I'm going to be very tentative about what I share and how I share and who I share with because I don't want to upset anyone, right? Emotional overwhelm. If emotions were never welcomed, modeled, or safely supported, strong feelings may now seem dangerous or unmanageable. So maybe you feel numb. Maybe you're like, I'd like to feel, but I just can't feel. Avoidance and shutdown often brings short term relief, but over time, it can reinforce the nervous system belief that the avoided feeling or situation truly was too dangerous to tolerate. And reframe your adaptations are intelligent. Healing involves thanking those strategies for protecting you while helping your system learn that you now have more choices. In other words, once you know better, you have to give yourself grace to do, I don't want to say better, but do life with more wisdom, make different choices. One of my favorite things about this journey is the redo. Every moment and every day, we can say, you know what? I am going to reset right here, right now. And no matter what happened earlier today, this is a new moment. This is a new beginning. I have an opportunity to make a different choice. So if I was operating on autopilot, I'm going to become more self-aware. If I was cranky and negative, I'm going to write a gratitude list, right? Same thing goes for the work that we do when we're healing our trauma, when we're learning how to respond differently in life, and when we decide that people pleasing isn't working anymore, or perfectionism isn't a goal that we want to dangle in front of ourselves anymore. We want to really heal. We have to not beat ourselves up. When we know better, we do better, and we allow ourselves to grow and shift and change. And that's really one of my favorite parts of this journey. Elton John said that for him, the coolest part of life is, and he's had some bad stuff happen, you never know where it's going to take you, right? And that sense of curiosity, I think, is so important as we do this work and we learn about ourselves as human beings and how it all works. So just understand that anxiety, perfectionism, people pleasing, all that stuff, hold the space for grace and kindness, self compassion, and love for yourself and others. Because also, as you learn about these things, you're going to see more in the world. And you need to understand that people are doing these things. People adapted this way to survive, not to be annoying or not to be less than or take up less space, but to survive. Okay. So, how does healing happen? Insight matters, but insight alone may not change the automatic response. So, we also need new experiences of safety. We need choice, connection, and manageable contact with emotions, right? So, how does healing happen? Well, as therapists, we might be a little biased, but through a safe therapeutic relationship, through that self awareness, understanding triggers and protective factors, and then developing some skills, some self regulation skills, some grounding strategies, increasing your window of tolerance or distress by learning to tolerate some challenging emotions, some difficult experiences, strengthening your boundaries with others, with yourself, and self trust. Processing the memories with an appropriately trained clinician. So I can't say this enough. I actually just taught an intro to EMDR to some staff. And, I love teaching about EMDR because it's so life-changing. And I get to witness miracle after miracle after miracle. My own experiences when I was a trainee, because we have to do it to learn how to do it. I've been blown away. So reprocessing through like EMDR or Kolby does brain spotting or any number of modalities out there now that really help change that brain chemistry. Beautiful. That's a wonderful way to heal. And then just practicing new responses in your day-to-day relationships, allowing yourself to take a pause, allowing yourself to take a break, making sure you're getting enough sleep, movement, connection, and predictable routines. I sort of, I don't know if I brag about this. I'm proud of this. And also, I share this because I think everyone needs to know I am a full time job right here. This human is a full time job. I literally need 3 hours, preferably four, every single day before Colby sees me, before Kathleen sees me, before Dawn sees me, before anyone has seen me. I have had 3 or 4 hours to journal. I'm down to 2 cups of coffee, which is good. Have a couple of cups of coffee, mindful movement, meditation. I do not leave the house unless it's my movements and the walk outside. Honestly, like I need that time every single day to reset for my day. And someday when your kids are not at home, you can do this too. So honestly, like that is what I need to function like the human being I want to be. That's all there is to it. And I think we sometimes think it's no big deal. You get out of bed and you go. Mm-mm-mm. Not if you're doing it in a way that honors what you need. Now, maybe your 3 or 4 hours is at the end of the day, right? I happen to be more of a morning person, so I want to do it at the start of my day. I don't even want to talk to anyone at the end of the day. I'm done at the end of the day. This talking head zips it at about 7 o'clock. It's all over. I'm done. Okay, but I think that's important to note. You have to do the things for yourself that you need to do so that you're like regulated on like a day-to-day basis, right? Healing does not require forcing yourself to tell every detail of what happened. Good trauma treatment is paced, collaborative, and grounded in choice. The goal is not to eliminate every uncomfortable feeling, it is to expand your ability to stay connected to yourself while emotions and sensations are moving through you. I think that's so important to think about. Um, and, there's the big T traumas that you think about. We talked about in the beginning war or catastrophic events, but there's lots of little T's in the world too, right? A relationship that didn't end up working out, or a disappointment at a job. Maybe you didn't get a promotion that you wanted, or sports fans, their team didn't go to the Super Bowl, right? Like that's a loss, right? It's a little T. It's a little T. You invested a lot of energy and time, and here we are now, the season's over or whatnot. So I think it's important to acknowledge that anything can negatively impact the way that your brain chemistry is functioning in the world, and you don't need to judge that. You just need some tools and some awareness and kindness, self-kindness to be able to work through that. Yeah. So, Colby, would you like to take it away from here?
Yes, I would. Thank you. So for the next several minutes, I'll guide you through a body awareness and grounding practice. This is an invitation, not a requirement. So if it's comfortable, you can please keep your eyes open if that feels safer for you. You don't need to relax, breathe in a particular way, or make any changes. So we're simply going to practice noticing with choice. And if focusing inside your body feels uncomfortable, you can always just stay with what you see or hear around you. You can also stand, move, or stop completely if it's too uncomfortable and you're feeling really activated in your body. So we'll get started now. Please do whatever you need to do to be comfortable during the practice. And we're just going to start by noticing the support beneath you. So we're just noticing the chair, the floor, couch, or bed holding your weight. Maybe you gently press your feet into the floor or your hands into the chair. And just notice that you can increase the pressure and you can release it. And there's nothing that you have to feel. Just simply notice that in this moment, you can make a choice in your body can respond. And if it feels comfortable, allow yourself to take a natural breath here. No need to make it unusually deep. Notice the breath entering and leaving your body. And if breath awareness is uncomfortable, you can let your attention rest on your feet or on something else in the environment around you. Just take another moment here. And now, gently take a look around your space. And just let your eyes move slowly rather than fixing on one specific spot. And as you're doing this, see if you can find 3 neutral or pleasant things that you can see. Perhaps there's a color, a shape, a source of light, or an object that you recognize. Allow your head to turn if that's comfortable for you. Let your eyes gather information from your surroundings. And then silently remind yourself, I am here. This is the space I am in. Today is Thursday, August 13th, 2026, and I do not have to be anywhere else in this moment other than right here, right now. Gently shift your attention to one neutral physical sensation. Perhaps you notice your feet touching the floor, the temperature of the air, your clothing against your skin, or your hands resting somewhere. We are choosing something neutral, not the most intense sensation in the body. And just see whether you can describe it silently using simple words. Warm, cool, heavy, light, soft, firm, still, or moving. And notice what happens when you observe a sensation without judging it or trying to change it. Now see whether there is one place in your body that feels neutral, steady, or even 1% more comfortable than another place. It might be your hands, feet, back, shoulders, or face. And if no place inside feels neutral, you can choose an external resource, such as the floor beneath you, a familiar object, a pet nearby, or the sound of my voice. And just let your attention rest there briefly. You're not trying to erase discomfort. You are giving your nervous system access to more than one piece of information. If it feels comfortable, press both feet gently into the floor. You might roll your shoulders up and back, stretch your fingers, or turn your head slowly from side to side. If that feels good, maybe you shake your head yes and no. And notice that you can initiate movement and decide when to stop. Bring your attention fully back to the room. And then silently to yourself, name 3 things that you can see, things you can hear, in one place where your body is supported. Take whatever breath feels natural. And when you're ready, you can reconnect with the screen. And before deciding whether the practice worked for you or not, just simply notice what is present now. Perhaps you feel calmer, more alert, unchanged, distracted, or even slightly uncomfortable. None of those responses means that you did it incorrectly. Regulation doesn't always mean relaxation. Sometimes it simply means becoming more present and having a little bit more choice. So, in one word, what do you notice right now? And as always, only share what feels comfortable. And if you don't want to unmute or say anything out loud, you can always chime in the chat. The skill is not forcing your nervous system into a sense of calm, but it is noticing what's happening, reconnecting with what's happening in the present moment, and then choosing your next supportive action. Okay, now that I know that my body was feeling a little activated earlier, I feel way more calm now. And what do I want to do about that? Do I want to keep this feeling going? Or did this help me out and now I can go back to what I was doing before or do something different, go on with my day. We have Evelyn said that you feel calm. Thank you for sharing, Evelyn.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel very much in my body. Yeah, very
Mm,
present.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Kathleen said relaxed.
yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I loved about that, and I've got to say, Kolby has meditations on Insight Timer that are, wow, she's a wonderful meditation leader. But one thing that was really cool about that exercise was that it really wasn't about like, let's, woo woo, it was very like, let's just be here. Like, what's here? And I really enjoyed that a lot. I really enjoyed that a lot. Let's see. I thought someone else said something on here too. Yep, I feel more self-aware. Yeah, that was Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, so thank you, Kolby. Fantastic. What you practice may seem simple, but it reflects several important elements of trauma-informed healing. Present moment orientation, right? Being mindful of the moment. Thank you, Amy, who's feeling more present. And it also reflects physical support. I loved the press your feet into the floor and feel the chair beneath you. That was wonderful. Choice. We can choose to scan the environment for items, to what are we going to focus on, to how we're moving our body, managing your attention, and being compassionate, right? All those things are so important. So if there's one message that we hope that you can carry away with to yourself today is you're not broken, you're not behind, you're not failing because something from the past still affects you. Your reactions have developed for a reason. Your nervous system is working, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Am I safe? Let me keep myself safe. With understanding, support, and repeated experiences of safety and choice, those patterns can, will, and do change. So, like, when should you look for individual help? Certainly keep coming to our Eventbrites, right? We're talking about this every month, but consider reaching out to a licensed mental health counselor or social worker or marriage and family therapist, psychologist. If your reactions to life, relationship situations are interfering with your sleep, how you're showing up in the world, how you're experiencing your level of success and well being, or you just know you're not functioning optimally. If you are relying on substances or other harmful behaviors to cope, that's really a sign from your nervous system that it's not working anymore. The flight, fight, freeze, or fawn is not holding, and it's time to clear that up, plus the other things. Um, let's see. If today's exercise increased your distress, return to something concrete in your environment. Like in this moment, look around the room, feel those feet on the floor, connect with a trusted person in your life right now. Like give someone a call, reach out, find a provider, because an exercise like that shouldn't really bring you to a higher level of distress if you're able on any level to regulate the nervous system. Do you think that's fair to say, Kolby? That you would want to, like, yeah, our goal here isn't to activate you, it's to help you feel better, feel more present. So another option is the Rising Up um, intensive outpatient program. Kolby's the clinical director, and I'm there helping everyone hold space for our patients. We provide a trauma-informed intensive outpatient program serving all of Massachusetts who have anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, emotional overwhelm. And our programming includes evidence-based clinical care with the practice of nervous system regulation and body-based skills that you experience in our Eventbrites. And information about Rising Up is in the link, and how to request support will be included in the follow-up email that you're going to get after this presentation. So everyone who signed up for this presentation will get a copy of this recording as well as those links. And we really do thank you for spending time with Kolby and myself because we love doing these practices ourselves. We love sharing information with people, getting the word out, and we truly are hoping to build up a library of resources for others. So Rising Up does have a YouTube channel. We do have a Facebook page. So if you have friends, family, anyone that you think can benefit from our stuff, teenage daughters, young adults going off to college, send them the link and say, hey, go look at those. Those will be helpful, right? Super important. And I think that's all I have. Do you have anything you'd want to add, Colby?
I don't think so. I think you covered it all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll be back next month. I don't actually know off the top of my head what our topic is, but look for it. If you're on the email list, you'll get it. Follow Leigh-Ann Larson on Eventbrite because my Rising Up stuff, personal brand, like all the stuff is right under there. So super important to make sure that you follow. And we'll see you soon. Be well.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.